Hey guys, how's it going? Alex Scott here with Consordini.com. Thank you guys so much for checking out another one of our super cool studio gear reviews. Today is a very exciting day. This is the AEA N8 active ribbon microphone. Now, the guys at AEA recently reached out to us and said, hey, we've seen your reviews, we dig them, we would really like for you guys to take a look at a couple of our mics, and so they sent a couple over to me. So first of all, thank you so much to the guys at AEA for sending these over. I'm really excited to check out some of their newer ribbon mic designs, of which this is one. Now, AEA is a really well-known high-end manufacturer of ribbon mics. A few of their designs, like the R84, are based around more kind of classic vintage ribbon mic designs like the RCA R44. I have used those in other studios in the past and they've always sounded fantastic, but this N8 is one of their newer designs. Like I said, it's an active ribbon mic, which is a little unusual. It does require phantom power. Now, normally on a ribbon mic, we would never send phantom power because for passive old school ribbon mics that can actually damage the ribbon, but in this case there is an active circuit inside that requires phantom power, so kind of interesting right off the bat. But AEA describes this mic as being very open and natural and detailed. It is designed for what they refer to as far field applications, so the miking of rooms, miking of drum sets, string sections, all that kind of stuff. So in just a minute here, we're going to take it out to my tracking room. I'm going to set it up as a mono overhead on a drum kit so we can hear it there. And then I'm also going to set it up on an upright bass and play a little upright for you so we can hear it on a string instrument. They say that it is really great with kind of detailed transients and very intricate transients. It picks things up very well. It's got a nice extended top end, an extended low end, so it retains some of those classic kind of dark, rich, velvety lows of a normal ribbon mic, but then adds this extended super clear top end, which is very cool. I think that's what the active circuitry is doing inside, is it's kind of compensating for the top end loss that you would get with a normal ribbon mic design. So very cool. I have not heard it yet. I have not used this microphone yet, so we're going to head out to the tracking room. Like I said, get it set up over drums, get it set it up in front of the upright, and just kind of give you guys a good overview of how it sounds. So let's go check it out. Okay guys, so we've got our AEA N8 set up as a mono overhead about 3 feet up from the center of the snare. So let's see how it sounds on the full kit. Okay guys, so now we have the N8 set up in front of my upright bass. Now I have moved the mic a little bit further back than where I would normally mic an upright like this. AEA says that this mic performs best when it's further than 12 inches away from a source. So here we're at 18 to 24 inches, somewhere in there. We've got it pointed pretty much right at the very bottom of the fretboard. And yeah, because it's a ribbon mic, you know, has a figure 8 pattern, so we're going to get a little bit more room sound than we normally would with a cardioid or more directional microphone. So that'll be interesting to hear as well. But let's see how it sounds. Okay guys, so there you go. AEA N8 active ribbon mic on drums and upright. Now, I'm actually really surprised listening back to the sound samples. Based on what NEA kind of totes these microphones to be, this N8 and then our other N22 that we're doing a review on, they sent me both of them to check them out. And this one, you know, like I said earlier in the demos there, it is designed to be used from sources far away. So, you know, we had it about 3 feet over the kit, we had it about 2 feet off the upright. And they say that it's supposed to sound incredibly balanced, incredibly natural, have this expansive, really detailed, neutral top end. That's not really what I'm hearing from this mic. I don't think it sounds bad. I just definitely would not say that it has a super expansive and detailed top end. You know, if you guys listen to the drums in particular, it sounds a lot more like a classic ribbon mic, which, you know, I'm not surprised by that because it is a ribbon mic. But I was thinking that there would be some more active EQ circuitry going on to really bring out that top end and accentuate it and make it very detailed. And to be honest with you, I'm really not hearing that. Now, that is not to say that I don't like the sound of the mic. I think it sounds very cool. I think it sounds very old school, especially on the drums. It did a little better on the upright, but upright is not known for having super detailed top end. It does have weird transients because of all the finger noise. On the drums, if I were doing a real old school soul kind of a thing, or like real old school classic rock, or wanted some real dark kind of funky sounding drums for a hip hop record or something, this is definitely a mic that I would go for if I had a pair of them, or if I had, they do make a stereo version of this mic called the R88. That's the exact same mic, just in kind of a dedicated bloom line housing with 2 ribbon elements. You know, that could sound very, very cool. Again, if you want a really dark drum sound, really dark overhead sound. It also felt really, really big in the lows, which again is a characteristic of ribbon mics that's pretty typical. But, you know, from reading their description versus what I'm hearing from the mic, they don't really line up. This sounds more like a traditional old school ribbon mic as opposed to some real modern, very bright take on it. It is a little bit brighter and a little bit more detailed in the top end than just a straight traditional ribbon mic without phantom power, without their active circuitry, but it's not something that I would necessarily describe as expansive and accurate and detailed in the top end. It does still have that kind of velvety darkness that ribbon mics are used to. Again, that's not to say that I don't like it. I think it did really, really well on the upright in particular. It really captured the lows nicely, and it still had a feeling of kind of that proximity effect boominess that you would get from really close miking the instrument. But again, we were 2 feet away, so that's kind of cool. I can see where that element of the design is coming in. But just to say that it's balanced and detailed, that I am not hearing as much. So, you know, take that for what you will. As always, I'm not, you know, the end-all be-all expert on this kind of stuff, but I've used a lot of ribbon mics in my day, and it sounds more similar to other just traditional passive ribbons that I've used in the past than it would to a kind of revolutionary new design, which I was really excited to hear, so I guess I'm a little bit disappointed from that perspective. But again, you know, it's a good sounding mic. I think it could be good on a lot of sources, especially if you like a really dark colored vintage sound. I think it would be great for that. I would love to hear it on string quartet. You know, unfortunately, I don't play violin, viola, and cello. Otherwise, I would show you guys that. But, you know, just using upright and drums as an example, I think it's a very interesting, characterful sounding mic with a lot of cool kind of vintage vibe to it. So another quick thing that I noticed that I wanted to mention, I did mess around with EQing a little bit after the fact. It didn't seem to really love taking extra top end. You know, I was trying to boost the top end with a high shelf to bring out a little bit of clarity, and was getting some kind of unpleasant frequencies when I tried to do so. And different mics take EQ sort of differently, so that's always something to consider. I'm sure experimenting, trying a few different either EQ plugins or hardware units, you could find one that agreed with it really nicely and add even more top end into it. But, you know, just for me right now, I would use this when I want specifically a darker, more vintage ribbony sound, as opposed to something really bright and modern and detailed sounding, in which case I would, you know, use a condenser like we normally would. The build quality, I will say, is excellent. It comes with this very cool shock mount, which I really like. But yeah, you know, sonically, just not quite what I was expecting. But regardless of any of that, let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. That always helps us out. And be sure to click that notification bell to be notified when we upload new videos. If you enjoyed this video and want to give it a like or share, that would be awesome as well. In any case, my name is Alex Scott with Consordini.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much to the guys at AEA for sending me this mic. I had a blast playing around with it, and we will see you in the next video.